Me, type in yes. All right. Is the level okay? Can you hear me okay? Is it loud enough? Good, excellent. All right, okay. So before we start, uh, let's open it up to questions. I got a couple deals to look over, and I've also updated the sheet that we were working on last week. I'll go through that again today. So, any questions? How's everybody doing? Did you enjoy the weekend last weekend, or was it the weekend before? Was it last weekend? Symposium? Yeah, that's great. Good to hear. Awesome. Awesome. Okay, any questions about anything? Anybody want to talk about something? I want to cover a couple deals and I want to go over the sheet again just for the modifications that I made and let you guys have that. I put it to the Dropbox, but I'll also make it available here. Where do I do that now? Let's do that. Okay, I just posted this new sheet. You can all download it. Yeah, I know. The recordings, I'm having some challenges. They're on the server. I have them on my computer. Just uploading them off of Adobe has been a challenge. So I'm still working on that, Mona. I'm hopefully going to get that resolved. No worries. Sorry for the delay, kids. Okay, can everybody download that sheet? Okay, when you get it, just open it to make sure that it's opened okay. It's the same link. Did you get the link last time? No, okay. Let me grab that link again. Okay, let me get that link for you again. Just everybody can grab it from there for now. Okay, let's see here. I believe that's the one right there, right? Yeah, 101's there. Good. 1 second. the link there. If anybody doesn't have the link right there, that's the link for the Dropbox. And that's for all the files. Including this one, the 101 version of the 6 key indicators. Does everyone have that one now? 6 key indicators, got it open? Good stuff. Okay, let me share my screen with that document. Hold on one sec. Get rid of some stuff here. That's good. There we go. Oh, shoot. Can you guys see that okay? Do I need to make it bigger? I think that was the maximum size. Yeah, that was okay. Okay. All right. So some things that I've added. So the monthly, anything in yellow we can change. Okay. So the purchase price, obviously we can change the gross monthly rent. You can put the total amount there. It'll do the division on the number of units. So if I put 3, it's going to change it. The gross revenue, I didn't change the gross revenue because I don't know which one you're going to have. So you can put the actual gross revenue in, type that in. If we come down here, I've separated the expenses in the vacancy maintenance and property management. So those can be changed and we'll make an effect on it. Expenses could be 20 and 20, giving us 40 total. Okay. I also moved the ROI over here from these key indicators. The box has the 101 indicators. Box is covering part of your screen. The box that has the 101 indicators is covering my screen. This box here that I'm moving, Wendy, is that what you're talking about? Is that the box you're talking about? This box? Yeah. File share. Oh, is it? Oh, okay. Hold on one sec. Let me fix that. I see what you're talking about. Okay. All right. Let's get rid of that. There we go. There. We good now? Okay, good. All right. So I was talking about the changes up here. Gross monthly rent. We can put that in. Put 3,000. It'll give us the per month. That's based on the number of units, obviously. That's going to matter. We come down here. The expenses and vacancy can be modified, changed. So the maintenance, vacancy, and property management typically are 20%. We can change that, though, obviously, if we're not, if some part of it is not being covered. Obviously, if it was a lease option, that would be no property management, no maintenance, actually, and no vacancy. That'd be a big zero. So that would only leave the expenses of taxes and insurance on the property. Okay, so for now we'll put the 20%. You come down here. All these are the same here. I've taken away though the ROI because I've moved it over to the right side. I'll explain why. Okay, so when we come over here, and anybody jump in if you have questions. So sourcing of funds, that's the same. When we come down here, this is the same. We come down, this is us putting the interest rate and the term, amortization, my apologies, since there is no term, interest rate. And then we come down here, we have monthly payments. That's all the same as the last sheet. This is where it's a little bit different. I moved the cash on cash return here, right under financing. The reason I did that is because if you come over here now, I've given us the option for interest only. So if a loan is interest only, we can enter in the information here. So let's, and just so you know, just everybody keep this in mind, when you use 0, it automatically assumes that this first one is not an interest only. It's going to use this rate right here. Does everybody understand what I'm saying? This one here. So if we put 0 here, it's going to assume that you're using the interest rate from the bank. Because it's obviously, and most times the bank's not going to be a 0 interest rate, right? At least at this time. That'll change, I'm sure, at one time. But if I change this, say, to 2%, let's say, it's no longer going to look at the 3.5. It's going to assume it's an interest-only loan at 2%. Okay? So, but if I use 0, it's going to use the 3.5. Okay? Everybody clear on that? Okay, so if I come down here, now this section is interest only. This is all interest only, okay? Interest only. So to give you an example, if we look at these two here, currently this one's producing a 4.3. This is minus 5.7. Why is that minus 5.7? That was a 0 anyways. There we go. Okay, because it was assuming when I put this 10 here, it was giving me 10% interest on this loan right here, the down payment loan. But right now it's 0, right? So if I come down here and I see it's 4.3, 4.3, because these are all zeros. And if they're all zeros, it's going to assume we're using these numbers. It's not an interest-only a deal. So therefore, we see that these numbers are exactly the same. They're all the same, okay? But what if I said, it's a $250,000 property. I'll put 25% down. Here's the VTB here. I'm going to use that as interest only. So I'm going to see what that would be interest only. So if it's, right now it's 10% over 30 years. What if I did 10% interest only? What would that do to my cash flow? And you'll see that you see a slight bump in your return because we've done a VTB with an interest only versus the amortization regular mortgage setup. So let's try something else just to give you an idea. If I went 11, just check something. So 11 would put me at 3.6, so I couldn't go much higher than that. Maybe 10.5. I'm trying to find the even point, 10.75. So I could give the lender a little bit more. That's about it. 4.3. I could give them a little bit more on this loan because I'm going interest only. Not much, as you can see. I'm only giving them 3 points versus the 10 points that I was originally going to give them. This would be more pronounced if we were at the lower interest rates. Let's try this, 5 and 6. And we come down here and we see that, if this guy is charging me 5, I could, principal. This is principal and interest, right? This is principal and interest. I could go interest only at 6, and I'd still be better off for cash flow, $89 a month versus the $85 a month. Okay, because you can see that we're, ultimately we're paying less here. Don't want to use that. Less here for the overall mortgage payment. That's what's changing. Because the monthly is changing, obviously, then that's going to change the yearly. Okay, so that's where the interest only perspective comes in. Now, if I was the larger amount, this 3.5%, if that was interest only, let's go 5%. You can see much larger gap between the two. If it was interest only, I could go up to 5, maybe 6%. Let's go 6. Oh, 6 wouldn't get us there. 5. Probably 5 and change, 5.5. But this is, 1.5% more. It's interest only. See, and remember, interest only, it doesn't matter about the amortization because there's no principal. This is interest only. At the end of the term, you'll still be owing this amount of money, whatever is the established amount here. But who cares, right? We're looking at cash flow and return on investment is what we're looking for to establish the profitability of the property. Now, if we come over here just to give you an idea, look at the cap rate. It's 5.8. It's a 5.8 cap rate. It's not a very high cap rate when we're putting in these numbers. If I change this to say 5,000, each unit was getting $2,500. The cap rate now goes to 5.8. Let's go a little bit because it's 250. Wait 1 second, I want to check something. So that should be, give me 1 second, 2,500. Oh, I see. That's why. Okay. So this needs to change. So if I did 25,000 and I had the expenses of 20 and 20, my cap rate would be 6. Let's go over here, and we see now we'll see a bigger change from the interest only versus the other one. Let's see that. So let's say that the bank's going to give us a 3.5, and the VTB we're going to offer 5 and 6% respectively. We'd have a 10.6 and 11 if we went interest only on the deal. Now again, this is starting with the 6 cap rate. Keep that in mind. I think this is important to keep in mind because the cap rate at 6, that's a challenge to make that work. We did make it work because the financing worked for us because we had a VTB at 5% and the bank gave us 3.5. Now let's shoot for a higher cap rate and see what that can do for us. Let's say that because obviously the other area that we can so the way we can increase cap rate obviously is to get a better price. And remember, we're paying the retail price here, right? 250 is to drop the price. So let's say we get it for 200. We come down here, cap rate's now at 7.5%. Not quite 10, but still 7.5. We come over here, and now we see the cash on cash return is 25 and 26%, respectively, versus the 5 and 6% interest only versus the 20,000 that we're getting as a VTB. You can see that seller financing at 10%. That's where that's coming from, 20,000. Now, if I change this, say, to 10%, and I change this to 11%, say, interest only versus there, I look and I see that in this case, because as that number gets higher, interest versus principal, because we're using a 30-year term, it's not going to mean as much. But if this was a 25-year term or shorter term, it would have an impact on it because the amount that you would be paying over that period would be greater, okay? Just double check that again. Yeah. So if this was 20-year, we'll see that see this number here. This number is going up as I shorten the term, right? That's what I'm paying more off of the principal. I don't really want to do that. So the longer the term, the better for me, okay? All right. So if we went, so we would probably go 10 and 10 in that case. But the main thing I want you to see is now we're at 20% ROI, even with cap rate of 7.5, right? So please don't think because you don't have the 10 cap rate, you can't make that work, or the GRM here is 8. We'd like to see 6. That's still going to work for us as long as the financing can be managed properly. So if we offered a VTB at 10%, and a first mortgage at 3.5, this is totally doable. The seller is going to be happy about that. The out-of-pocket for us is $20,000. Now, of course, that can come from somewhere else, but this all allows us to take a mediocre property and get a decent return of 21.7%, which is outstanding. Any double digits I like to see. I like to see between 20 and 30, but a 10 is workable. Now the area, obviously, we can change this to 15 and 5 if we can get a little bit more from the seller. Let's see what that does for us. We see that we go up to 33% ROI, even though the monthly cash flow has gone down a little bit on us because we're paying more in mortgage, but the return is much higher because we put 50% less money in out of pocket. Okay, 50% less money out of pocket. Does everybody see that? So I want you to just consider something. Let's say you were 10 and 10. Okay, 10 and 10. Now, if you're 10 and 10, right? What if we offered another investor 10? Okay, let's see what that looks like. Come down here. We're still making 21% return. Now, wait a minute. I got to put an amortization in there, 30. Okay, so there we go. Won't be quite as much. We're making 11.3%, but really this is deceiving. Let me see 1 second here, because I don't have any money in this property. Does everybody understand that? I've basically borrowed the other 10% to show you what that would look like. So the 20,000 I borrowed at 10% and the VTB at 10%. Another way to show you that is to go 20 and 0. and then make that a 0, obviously, because it's no amount. It would be like getting seller financing, 10% from the vendor take back and 10% from an investor. And you'll see this says DIV. This means infinite return right here. This means infinite return. So, it's, why don't I just change that right now and I'll update that. Anyways, any questions before I go on? No? Everybody's completely, everybody's good? I like the interest only section. Good. Okay. Is that how you spell infinite? There we go. Infinite. And if not, then do that. 1 second. There we go. Let's see if that fixes it. There we go. There you go. So it's infinite now. Let's say that. Do people actually get people willing to lend for 30 years? Now, that 30 years, the 30 years, give me 1 second. The 30 years is a mortgage. It's a mortgage. So understand something. 30 years is the amortization. That's not the term. So the term could be 5 years. So Wendy, when we're working out amortization, that's the term. That might be a 5-year loan, but it's over 30 years at 10% interest rate. You see what I mean? It's not. So you could say to them, Wendy, let's do a 5-year, let's do a 30-year amortization for 5 years. So 5 years, for 5 years, they're going to receive this amount of money every year, and at 5 years, I would pay out the $40,000. I could refinance the property or do something else, sell it. There's lots of different things we could do. Does that make sense? Okay, so vacancies over here. So vacancy, maintenance, property management. I put up 20%. So vacancy. Let's do this. This is going to be considered. Vacancy is 5%. Maintenance is going to be 5%. And property management is going to be 10%. Okay, so if we decide, let me just make that a little bit smaller. There. If we decide, that for whatever reason in this property, there was no vacancy, I'd go 15, right? Or which is only time that's going to happen is a rent to own. Maintenance, say no maintenance, I could go to 10. No property management, obviously I could go to 0. That's going to look what happens to the cap rate. The cap rate just jumps when you're reducing your expenses. That's the other area of opportunity is to reduce your expenses. That's going to increase your ability to. That's monthly gross rent. My apologies. That's 2,000. No, sorry. Let's see. What would that be? 2 would be 24. 222. I don't know. Close to that. So it's 2,200. My apologies. I'm looking at the gross rent. So if the gross rent was 2,200, that would be 24. And 2 times 12 is 24. It would be actually less than that. This is why I'd rather do it that way. The reason is I could make this calculated here if you guys want. Equals this 12. That's going to give us the rent automatically. If you put in, the monthly gross rents are 1,500. Now it's going to do everything automatically. We can set it up like that if you want. I didn't do that initially because I was looking at if you only had the gross revenue, and then you'd have to do a reverse calculation. But that's all right. If you know the monthly rent, that's the easiest one to get. So, you know, again, this is the idea is this. Look, if you can get the asking price, and the monthly rent, number of units, you basically can start evaluating if a property is profitable or not for you. And that's really what this is about, is understanding where should I spend my time on this deal, right? You know, where should I do it? That's what we're trying to understand. Let me just move something over here. Sorry, I'm just making some changes as we go along. Okay. All right. So, because there's no money in the deal, that's why it's reading infinite return. Okay. So let's go back to 10 and 10. Okay, if we went back 10 and 10, here only because these are interest. This is the assumption is interest only. That's why it's coming up with an infinite return, because these numbers are actually exactly the same. If you look at these, they'll be exactly the same, and that should read the same way. Let me see something here. Just want to check something. There we go. See something. Okay, I have to change that too. Anyways, that's just reading as an error because there is no rates in here. There is no interest only. Okay, let's save that. I'll make that modification later. Okay, so let's put a property in here. Now I have one that I'm looking at from someone sent it to me. I'm going to check it now. Hold on one second. So let's go here and let's plug in the numbers. Okay, so one second for that mail to come up. There we go. Okay. So Vladimir sent me a deal. Vlad, is it okay? I'm going to put this deal up. I'm going to punch in these numbers. We can look at it. Yeah. Okay, Vlad. All right. Okay, here we go. So, okay, so 20% of the count, 90 days. Okay, can you talk about it on Tuesday? Okay, house price 167. 167,000. Municipal price of expenses and renovations. Expenses for renovations will be 7,000. Okay, so if the asking price is 167 and I'm spending $70,000 in renovations, I want you to add that amount to the asking price. Okay, so really this would be an additional 7. So maybe we should put renovations here. Okay, so renovations are estimated at 70,000. Okay, so we can put that in there, and that's going to give us a purchase price equals sum. I'll have to change that because this. Okay, yep. Okay, so 237 is if we do it. Let's see here. Real estate agent says we can renovate it and sell it for 310. The sheet flips. Can you calculate things? Okay, so pretty simple actually. If the purchase price is 237, this plus renovations, and we can sell that for 310 on a flip. You know that flip, and we have a different sheet for flips, right? But if I can maybe work on something for this particular sheet. But if you're flipping this property, apparently, right, if we resold, let's put that there for now. Resold for, you said 310. 1, 2, 3. Okay, if we sold for 310, this stuff here wouldn't mean as much. We'd still put it in if I had rents in there. I'd put it in. But 310 is what the resale number is on this. Okay, let me just change second. Okay. There we go. So 310 is the resale. Resold at 310, 310,000. Clearly between these two, the resale value, and we can look at this as an option too. So you know, if we want, we can add an additional tab to this for this type of deal. Really comes down to your carrying cost. The renovation, just to clarify, the renovation, the 70,000 in renovation, does that include carrying cost, or is that just, you know, what it's going to cost to do the repairs? Is that carrying cost too? That's everything? 70,000? Because I'm looking at it, I mean, it's pretty simple. I mean, if we flip this property out, so if I take this, folks, just hold on a second, and I put it here for a sec, just to make just a, let's do this a little bit bigger. Okay, so clearly this number of units won't matter at this point. Okay, let's get rid of that for a second. It, you know, clearly equals, right? I'm just going to go resale minus, you know, purchase price, which is including the repairs. We're looking at 73,000 as your profit, right? Okay. Now, really, the dilemma or the challenge of this is verifying. You got to verify the 70,000. Now, you got a lot of room in here, lots of room. Okay, lots of room. In fact, I would tell you something. You know, let me just. I'd rather see you do this. You know, my fee, and put 25,000 as an additional expense here. So I would do, to ensure that you're profitable, I would put in a fee, my fee 25,000, and you could actually make that a negative to show that it's, you know, minus your fee, right? And then profit, I would rather you take that into account for your profit. So I would also put plus this, and that would give you 48,000. Now the reason is to ensure this is really what you have to you know, if something comes up or something changes based on these numbers. 48,000 is how wrong we could be on this property. Does everybody understand what I just did? What I'm doing here, right? So I have the asking price of 167. I have the renovations of 70,000. The purchase total, right? Total is going to be 237. The resale value is 310. My fee is 25,000. The profit's going to be 48,000. So this 48,000 represents, if these numbers are right, the 48,000 represents how wrong I can be on this deal. I can be wrong up to 48,000, and I'll still be able to get my $25,000 at the end of the deal. Does everybody understand that? So the other thing that you can consider always, you know, is to look at is, Vlad, how much money are you going to put up? How much money are you going to put up on this deal, right? So your end of it is so you only have to put up 10K? Is that right? 10% of the asking plus the 70? Is that right? Okay, so then let's do this. Go 10% here. We can just do this way. 10%. So if I look at this equals this times this. So this is what I got to put up, 16. Plus I got to put up the renovations, all of it, right? That's another 70,000. So if I sum these, right? So if I put sum, I add these together, okay? I'm in for 86,000, correct? So that means if I go down here and I go call this ROI, right? I would go equals, right? Income divided by investment, okay? So it's 55%. Now that's after my fee. So really it's higher than that, right? Because this takes out your fee. If you just did your fee, your 25,000, say, and we did B5. If you just got the 25,000, oh, that's because it's negative. If you just did 25,000, you'd be 28%. Okay, 29% ROI. Does everybody understand what I just did? Everybody understand? Right? So ROI on the 25% is 29. If we wanted, we could go ROI. So let's do this. Let's go ROI on the total. If I did ROI equals on the whole amount, I would go equals this minus this divided by this. So 84% if I get the full amount from this property. 29% if I get the 25,000, and really this is it, right? If I get anywhere, that's my low end is 29%, my high end is 84, and that's if I get the full amount, the full 73,000 from this property. And the reason is I'm putting up 86. So that's my amount that I'm putting up is 86,000. Now let's say if you had to put up 20% of this deal, what would that be? You'd still be 24,000 and 71% if you put up 20% plus the 70,000 in renovations, you'd still be okay, right? Now, can you find a way to, remove the cost of 70,000 from this deal? Because will that make a difference? Well, of course, if this is a zero, you look at your ROI now, right? Your ROI now. Now, let's keep something in mind, right? If somebody else gave you the 70,000, and you split the profit with them, you'd be splitting this profit with them. You would still be okay, right? What would be his return if you got someone to borrow, put up the 70,000, not borrow, but partner up. Somebody puts up 70 grand, for this deal to do the renovations. This part here, what's his return? It's not 24 and 71, that's for sure. What's his return? So his return would be now, right? His return would be based on his amount, the 20%, which would be 75 and 219. And actually, this was originally 10, so it'd be 150 and 437 would be the respective returns. Now, what does all that mean? Well, he put up 16,000. How much money is he getting? Well, he doesn't get to keep it all, but let's do the math, right? If he did this one, he'd be getting this. I gotta go. All right, and this he'd be getting equals this. This plus this. Okay, so here's the respective profit, right? In actual cash, right? Profit. That's the ROI. That's the profit. Okay. Now, if he just gets the 25,000, he makes 25. If he gets the full amount, he gets 73. But if he splits that because somebody put up the 70,000, what is his return? What is his return? Well, his return is 437 because we put 0 here. But let's say he splits the profit. So his profit will not be 73. It'll be divided by 2, right? It'll be equals this divided by 2. Now he's got 36,500. Everybody see that? Okay, one more thing you want to see. If you split the profit, this 73,000, then your return is not 437. What is it? Well, your ROI now equals how much you put up. Your profit versus your investment, and that needs to be a percentage. 219%. That's what you made. Does everybody see that for ROI? That's his new ROI. Because if he makes 36,000 and he only puts 16,000, he makes 219%. That's a pretty good deal. Pretty good deal. Now the other question is, well, what did the investor make? Well, if the investor is getting also 36,000 because it's 50% of this, right? They're also getting 36,000. What are they getting? Well, they put up the 70,000, right? So they put up the renovation. So we take their income divided by their investment. They make a 52% return, which is excellent for them too. Does everybody see that? So they make 52 because they put up 36. They make 36,000. They put up in renovations the 70,000 for us. They still make 52%. It's not like they're not making money either. So this is where you recognize and start to realize, the more you share the wealth, the more, the easier it is to make money. The more you're making money for other people. There's opportunity here. So if you can get someone to put up the 70,000 and they're going to make 36,000, that would be outstanding. That would be outstanding. Now, let's do one more calculation. What if your profit is cut in half? Say you're off by 50% total, right? So 73,000 is not what we're going to make anymore. And the 25 we can't change. I don't want to change that right now because you should be making that as a minimum. If I go divided by 2, let's assume that we only made 50%. And really it's I want to show you, if you only made, so somebody put up 70,000 and made 18,000, in other words, 50% of the projected, they still make 26%, which is outstanding, Everybody see that? And if you look at this, it's and you still make 109, right? You still make 109. That's less than the 18,000 is less than the actual 25,000 that you were looking at as your fee. I'd be okay with this. I would be okay with you splitting that and not making the full 25,000. I'd be okay with that. The reason is because you have basically an awesome return on the money, 109, over 100%. And really, when it comes to rehabs, you should be seeing it, making over 100% return on your money. Really, is what where you should be, because it's a flip, right? When you flip properties, you should be making 100%. And let me explain why. When you reno a house, renovations make sense when you put $1 into a property and you make $2. Everybody understand that? So if I put $1 into a property to fix something, I expect to make $2. If I'm not going to make $2, then I have to question whether I should renovate it, because that means that I could if I don't do anything to it, I wouldn't make any money, but I wouldn't lose any money either. The only situation, it's rare, believe me, that it would make sense for me to renovate something, and not necessarily make 2-to-1 would be that I can't get the market value because the property is in such a state, a distressed state, it can't be sold as is. And I'm not talking about retail, just as is, the way it is. Okay, does that make sense? Vladimir, is there any questions? Anybody? No problem. The other thing, Vlad, that you talked about was your mortgage broker was telling you that you had to have money in the bank for 90 days, all that, yes? You had to show, let's see, I need to show income of $60K down and a down payment of 20% in the bank account for 90 days. Okay, so I think a couple things I'll tell you, Vlad, okay? And let's open this to the crowd. How many of you, like, well, what can we do with this property? Let's assume this is your property. What else can you do? Let's give Vlad some ideas. So let's assume Vlad doesn't have $60K to put down. 20% to put down on the property. Now, you told me it was 10 though now. Have you revisited that, Vlad? Has that been updated? Because originally you told me you had to put 20% down. Is it still 20 or now is 10? I have only 10. I see. Okay, so you need another 10 is what you're saying, correct? Vlad, is that right? Okay. What about the renovation? You can borrow for the renovation? Is that right? Oh, excellent. Okay, at 8%. Okay, we would put that into the cost, but that's excellent, Vlad. Okay, so basically, look at my squeaky voice there. Basically, you need another, 20,000, 16, 7. Really, you need another 18, 17, $20,000, correct? See, to me, folks, this is, you know, and this is me, and I wish I could do business with you, with you guys directly because I'd give you the money. Um, that's just me. We'd have to look at the deal, obviously, and vet the deal. I don't want to endorse anything, but to me, this is the kind of stuff where, folks, if you're sitting on money, and I'll give you something creative you can do, and how I feel about credit, and working with credit properly and managing it properly. If somebody's offering you, you know, uh, 0% or 1% balance transfer, or sorry, cash advance, for 20 grand for a year. I mean, this to me, that's how. This is my opinion. Obviously, I'm telling you what I would do. This would be a no-brainer for me. I'd put up to 20 grand, and I'd be looking at making, you know, um, basically if you put up 20 grand on this. So let's look at that. If you put up the other 10% on this, let's calculate that, folks. So let's assume that you put up the other 10. So this is the other 10%. Okay, so 16,007, and you made half. We didn't make 100%, but half equals. Well, we already know what that is. It's 109. It's 109. It's 109. You make 109% if you put up. Basically, you double your money on this property if you're an investor on it. If you make the full amount, if you both make the full amount, the 73,000, it would be 36,000 that you would be making. All of a sudden, so equals this 36.5 is what you're making. You're putting up 16, so your ROI would be this divided by this. Wait a minute. Oh, other way around. Income divided by investment. You make 218%, 219%. So your 17,000 would turn into 36,000. It would double. Oh, wait a minute. We made 109%. Oh, that's profit. So my apologies. You would get your 16 back plus 36. Not to confuse, okay? So you make 36,000. That's your profit here. Profit. And that's your investment. So your investment is 16.7, your profit is 36, you make 219. That's if you get all of it. If you get half of it, you're still making 109%. To me, that's definitely something worth looking at. So what I'll do at the end, let's not do it now. If anybody's interested in working with Vlad on this deal, I'd be more than happy to help you guys out with it if you need my help. Let Vlad know. Don't do it now, please, and you can post your email. We'll do it at the end, okay? Does that sound good? Okay, good. Yeah, I think it's a great opportunity. I really do. I think it's something. Even if you look at the deal and you don't do it, for whatever reason, it doesn't make sense or whatever, it's still worth looking at to me, because I mean, how many opportunities are you going to get to make, 100 or 200% on your money? Just it's. I'll tell you, this is the kind of stuff that can really help you. And if you're borrowing the money, then your return is it's infinite. Like, I mean, it's ridiculous. Okay, good. Okay, someone just sent me a message, but they were very interested. So we'll do it at the end. Okay, don't put your emails up, please, because it's recorded. Okay, so Vlad, are we good? Good, excellent. Now I want to look at, somebody else sent me a deal. I want to look at, give me 1 second. apologies. Give me 1 second. Got a few more minutes. I want to make sure I get this deal done too. Okay. Jared. Okay, Jared, are you there? Okay, let's look at your deal. Now, folks, some of you have not seen this sheet yet. This is so when you use the 6 key indicators and you see that you have an opportunity, this sheet's going to break down the numbers even further. My apologies. Hold on 1 second. Give me 1 second here. Okay. Sorry, I didn't. My bad. I didn't change something there. Let's get rid of that. Okay. Let's do that again. Sorry about that. Share my screen. Okay. So here we go. We have a property. It's 280,000. There. Can everybody see that? Okay. 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 Everybody's good. They can see it. Good. Okay. So we got 3 units. 35,000 is the rental income. So total income. There's no laundry, vending, or parking or other. So 35,000. We have taxes, insurance, and all utilities is 600. That's interesting. Why is that showing up as a number? So you put these numbers in, correct? Because the formulas are gone. So Jared, I see this 454. What's that for? This line is empty. Should that be there? And this 375, not supposed to be there. Okay, so that's 0. And what about this 375? Is that 0 too? Yeah, no worries. Okay. So here's the dilemma. That's not going to change the numbers. Okay. All right, let me just do this. Hold on 1 second. This isn't going to work. Okay, give me 1 second. Okay, I'm going to put these numbers in a live sheet. Hold on 1 sec. So the dilemma, when you send me a sheet, folks, if you could, if it's possible, please leave the formulas and the numbers in, just because then we can modify it. I can modify it, and we can look at changes or modifications, with rates and stuff like that, just everything. So give me 1 second. My apologies. I'm gonna quickly change. Let me just do that. Okay, we're gonna use different. Here we go. So 280. There we go. Well, you know what? I can share my screen now. I have that up. Okay, so share. There we go. You can see that, right? Okay. So I have multiple. I have 2 monitors right now. So let's try that again. So I will move the information over. Okay. So let me try that again. Let me go here. Okay. So 280,000 here. Oops, another 0. We have unit 3. I'm just using another sheet. I have 35,000. That's good. Here, I'll just move these over. Hold on 1 sec. Yeah. 1 sec. There we go. That good. Good. Okay, let's go here. You had 80. Remember 3.5. Here we hit 0. 20% down. That looks right. This all looks right now. Does that look right to you? So you're 390.68. Exactly right. The numbers though initially were showing up differently. But anyways. Okay. So all right, here we go. So first off, we look at this property, 283 units, 35,000 income. So first thing I noticed right away is the price versus income. The income is more than 1%. Rental income, that's awesome. That's excellent. I like seeing this higher than 1%. Obviously, 1%. My apologies. That ends up being more than 1%. I was looking at 1% per month. If we look, just to give you an example, if we look at 3 units times the average, you see how it's 2919. Can everybody see that? Let's make that bigger. So 2919. The reason that's a good indicator is that is if you 280,000. That's 1 month's rent. If you can get 1% for the month versus the purchase price, that's a great indicator that you got something really good, right? At least the beginnings of something really good, for sure. So as we go down, we see, okay, so I want to just verify, so the tenants obviously are paying all the bills here, correct? Okay, good. All right. So vacancy is 5, maintenance is 5, management is 10. Is there anything that we need to talk about here? Vacancy, is the vacancy, is it in an area that vacancy should be higher? Is the maintenance, how old is the property? Is 5% realistic? And management, is there management in place in that area? Okay, as you type that in, net operating expenses are only 25%. This is outstanding numbers. Like this, he was vacant 11 months and 10 years. Oh, that's excellent. Still, we're gonna do this. I'm telling you, Jared, this property looks outstanding. I mean, total operating expenses is only 25%. That's ridiculous. Net operating income is 74. I come down here and I look, even if we do a conventional mortgage, which by the way, this is a 3-unit building, so this could get a residential mortgage. This property is a home run. This property is a home run. Like, if the numbers are all real, I mean, gosh, even with the regular mortgage and you putting 20% down, and look, the cap rate's like 9.3, just below. Coverage ratio is outstanding. By the way, coverage ratio, for those of you who don't know, coverage ratio is how much, and banks look at coverage ratio. A little bit different. We're a little deeper than the banks are doing it. But this basically says, look, your net operating income is $26,000. That's where that comes from, 26. In other words, after you pay all your bills, you make $26,000. But then you have your debt service, right? How much is that going to cost you? Well, that's going to cost us $12,000, right? $12,000. That's what that's going to cost us. So what it says is, okay, we know that you're making this net operating income of $26,000 a year. This is your debt service is $12,000. That's what it's going to cost you to finance it. Can you cover it? Well, this says that I can cover it not only once, but twice over 2 times. I'm making twice as much income as I need to cover the carrying cost. This 2.17 is outstanding for a coverage ratio. 1.2 is enough. 1.2 means you can cover your bills plus you have 20% left over of your net operating income. Okay. Does anybody have any questions? The new people, folks, I know this sheet's pretty new to you. Any questions about this? Is he willing? He is willing to do a VTB at 10%. He said I was new. It said I was knew how to set it up. Okay, give me 1 second. I don't have the sheet. So Vladimir, everybody that doesn't have this sheet, it's in your link. This is it's a cash flow sheet version 4. New folks, you haven't seen it yet. If you haven't seen it, put it up, use it. Dave, utilities extra, tenants pay, or do we pay? So Dave, Dave, if I was to know how to set it up. Okay, so Jared, let me get back to you on that. Jared, just want to confirm, Dave's asking about the Dave's asking about the what do you call it, the bills. So for sure those are the only bills that you have, right? Tenants pay, everything. Oh, okay. Okay, good. Before I forget, Dave, can you reach out to me tomorrow? I just want to talk to you about something. Excellent, appreciate it. Hope everything's going well. I'm sure it is. You're doing great, my friend. Okay, Jared, tenants pay, everything. Okay, so Jared, looking at this deal, it's outstanding. Now, if he was going to do a VTB at 10%, so if I go 10, and everybody watch. Let me change that to 0 again. What I want you to do is watch. Okay, watch the return on investment. Okay, so this is kind of small here. Let me just make everything a little bit small. Make this bigger. Hold on one sec. Let me make this bigger. Good. Okay, so let me do this. Hold on one sec. There we go. Okay, so the cash on cash return is 25. Pay attention to that number, okay? Now watch what happens. If I can get him to put up 10%, and I give him 10%, look what happens. Everybody see that? So by putting in 10% less, look what our cash on cash return did. Went to 40%. Now notice something, okay? Your average profit per unit is now 310, and your coverage ratio dropped to 375. So just to show you, let's go back. Okay, if I go back to, my apologies. If I go back to no VTB and 20%, I'm making cash on cash return of 25%, which is excellent. My average profit per unit is 390. My coverage ratio is 2.17. Okay, now if I change this to 10. At 10%, look what happens. My cash on cash return explodes. Goes to almost 40%. My average profit per unit goes to $310,000. $310. So it dropped, but I'm still making $310 per month. The coverage ratio drops 375, but it's still way over 1.2. This is an excellent deal. This is an excellent deal. You get this guy to put up, 10%. You're gonna have an awesome deal on your hands for sure. Okay, let's wait. Hold on a sec. Okay. And the $600 the seller pays, and I'm verifying what the utility is. Okay. Chuck just said the deal is for a sale by owner as well, no realtor involved. Okay, that's a bigger deal. I mean, bigger deal for him. He's not going to pay that, but that allows him to reduce his price. That's for sure. This deal, like looking at the numbers, this deal is outstanding. Like it's outstanding. Now, any repairs needed? No repairs needed. This is okay. Where's it located? What? What is going on here? Okay, Jared, do you have this under contract? You do, right? Oh, Oh, so tomorrow, Jared, you need to get this under contract ASAP. Like now, you need to get it under contract now. Because I'll tell you something, Jared. I'll tell you something straight up. You could flip this property. Yeah, put all the conditions in and get back to me if you need help with that. After he sees the conditions. I'm telling you right now, you could flip this property and you can make some serious money just flipping it. It's a cash cow though. Like it's a great cash flow property. But you could flip this property and, it would be great. Jared, are you looking for anybody to work this deal with you? Maybe a bad neighborhood. Maybe. We'd have to look at it. Jared, you checked that out? The reason I'm not sure about that is because if you look at the rents, it's $1,000 a month. It doesn't. Like, I can't be that bad if people are affording $1,000 a month. Does everybody see that? Like, I would have thought the same thing, but $1,000 a month on average, that doesn't sound like low income. Government subsidized. You're not going to pay $1,000 if you're getting subsidies. You could. It's not impossible, but it's unlikely. So, how many bedrooms are they? 2 and 3? Is that what they are? 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 3? Is that what it is? What is it? So, Jared, again, I'm going to say this. You need to get this under contract ASAP. Like tomorrow. Get it under contract. Does anybody have any questions about this? Any questions about the numbers or what they see? Anybody? For you new folks, when you get this sheet, you can play around. This bottom part evaluates the property and gives us, an estimation of what it's worth to us, and breaks down the numbers. This is something I'll go over another day. Okay? This is total wealth accumulation, VTBs, and all that jazz. It's deeper into the numbers. You don't need to look at that right now. Top floor is 1 bedroom, 1 bath. Main floor is 3 bedroom, 1 bath, and lower floor is 3 bedroom, 1 bath. Yeah, those are pretty big units. Those are pretty big units. 3 bedroom and a 3 bedroom. Wow. Wow. Must be a big house. 1,000 square feet. Holy smokes. Okay, check out the neighborhood. Make sure the neighborhood's so folks, heads up. If the neighborhood's not that great, we can look at flipping out this property. Because I do believe it's underpriced for value for the market. But also, if we know that we can manage it properly in this property management, it's not out of the city. This would be a great income property for you. Like this thing's gonna make you $1,000 a month. Thanks, Sarah. That's good. So, any questions before I close out the screen? Anybody? Yes. What the seller is getting himself? He said just over 1,000. Oh, cash flow. Cash flow. Oh, I see. Okay. It's good. Well, good for him. That's great. He's got somebody else managing it, right? Obviously, right, Jared? That's excellent. All right. Well, that's good. Folks, again, I want to just keep something else in mind. We're making $310 per unit, so that's $1,000. We're still stashing away a total of $391 in reserve for vacancy maintenance and property management. Now, the property management is going to be used, no doubt, so that I would consider that, you know, the $291 would be the extra money. So Vlad is asking, so I'm going to shut the screen up. If everybody, no questions, I'm going to shut the screen, okay? Okay. So Vlad's asking a real good question before we wrap up here, and I want to wrap up here. We're getting late. So, couple things. Jared, make sure you get that property under contract tomorrow. Dave, if you could reach out to me, that would be great. I know you said good, just a reminder. Also, Vlad was asking about how to get a mortgage if they're asking for the money in 90 days. So a couple things. My pleasure, Jared. Get on that one right away, my friend, right away. Okay, so Vlad was asking me about mortgages. How do I get a mortgage if they want the money in there for 90 days? So there's a couple different things you could do there. One is you can obviously get someone else to get the mortgage for you, maybe a business partner, someone else investing in it, or you could do a joint account where the person puts the money in the account with you. Obviously, the money can't be removed without the permission of both parties, you and your partner. You could set it up that way. So that money could sit there for 90 days and meet the requirement of the lender. Does that make sense, Vlad? Yeah, there's lots of ways to do this. There's lots of ways to legally, legitimately do this right. You just got to follow the steps. All right. What else was I going to say? I think that's it. I thought there was something else I wanted to say, but I can't remember. Anyways, oh yeah, before we go, I'm going to stop the recording in about 10 seconds because I want Vlad to put out his email to anyone who's interested in this deal. Don't do it yet. And also, Jared, if you want some interest, if you want somebody to get in there with that, I did verify they are legal units. Oh, awesome, Jared. Great. Awesome. I didn't ask that. I should have.